Alright, here we go. Luvnest's 5th challenger. This time it's going to be Classy Skull champion David. The map is Famenville Approach. Classy David is a player I've cast a few times before. You might recognize his name. Luvnest is going to be playing as Oberkommando West on this map rather than Oster. Against Classy David's U.S. forces, we're going to see double rear echelon start for maximum capping power before fielding riflemen. And Luvnest is going to send his Sturm Pioneers north towards that fuel. Easy to get that taken quickly.
Crew, stand ready.
And Luvnest is going to also destroy some of the fences immediately outside of his base right here.
Fire obstacle up.
Folks Grenadiers moving to take control of that point. And wire. Also going down right here. Folks Grenadiers secure the building, and riflemen are on their way into a green cover position. Try and start working on them. Sturm Pioneers continue wiring off this approach. This is a really common tactic, by the way. This is a good tip for Oberkommando West players. Deny this particular flanking route. See a lot of Axis players doing that. Luvnest is no exception. Also denying the yellow cover right there. Riflemen look like they will win this engagement eventually. Rear echelon troops also are able to currently not taking any damage while the Folks Grenadiers focus fire. The riflemen right there are going to start working on the victory point. Looks like Folks Grenadiers switched targets though. A couple of them rotated back to start working on the rear echelon troops instead of the riflemen in green cover. But either way, they've also got green cover, so Folks Grenadiers will get forced out of this structure eventually. This squad moves up on the flank of those rear echelon troops though, and they start taking heavy damage. And we'll secure the building when this squad retreats. Third squad of riflemen in production now. David has fielded Armor, Recon, and Airborne Company, which is a loadout I think Wolf fielded. Interesting combo. No, he actually had infantry, not armor. So I don't know. We see pretty much all the different U.S. commanders. Rifle Company, of course, very conspicuously absent, but I wasn't expecting Classy David to field that anyway. Third squad of riflemen on the field, making its way to the front line, and rear echelon troops are taking control of everything here in the south.
That's it. Points out. All right, you dopes, listen
And these
up.
two squads are on their way towards the north fuel to start working on that. Rear echelon,
Assembled and ready. Small arms fire.
Sturm Pioneers have denied a little bit more cover up here, but mostly just prioritizing capture of the VP. They will encounter rear echelon troops, which they'll easily win an engagement against if they find them. For some reason they pulled away though. Rear echelon troops will be allowed to capture that munitions because the Sturm Pioneers pulled back towards the fuel, which they will get into the capture circle just in time. Riflemen have a wide retreat path because of this wire, but it looks like they're going to get away to safety anyway. Meanwhile, riflemen against superior numbers of Folks Grenadiers are losing an engagement for the cutoff here, but Classy David does have pretty good map control. Probably not good enough yet, and he is losing various engagements. He's losing this one, he's losing this one. What are those riflemen doing? Treated just in time through red cover. I won't get wiped though, which is what's most important. Classy David going with a very strong infantry corps of 2 rear echelons and 4 riflemen. And there's the captain coming next. He probably suspects, or maybe even scouted, I'm not sure if he saw this, probably not. I don't think so, but probably suspects tier 3 from Luvnest, which is the more common Oberkommando West build. So Captain Tier from Classy David is going to help him shut that down, and we'll have the bazookas on the captain and the AT gun thereafter. Sturm Pioneers working on riflemen up here. Look like they've lost the engagement unless they get some really good snipes, which they do. Killed 2 models, surprisingly, before dropping any of their own, and Classy David will be forced to retreat from that engagement.
Point secured. Infantry attacking in force.
Volksgrenadiers have to pull back away from Classy David's riflemen here in the middle.
Mission accomplished. Prepare for action.
Taking infantry fire! Salvaging destroyed vehicles and weapons will yield additional resources. Commander abilities ready. Incoming fire!
Send your orders!
Unit ready.
Under attack!
Rear echelon troops with 1 man will be forced to retreat from those Volksgrenadiers. Meanwhile, Jaeger light infantry deployed in the south will mean Luvnest has chosen scavenge doctrine. No light vehicle yet. He does have fuel transfer active, but apparently he's just going to keep working on 4 Volksgrenadiers and now Jaeger light infantry. So, I was wrong about the flak half-track. Stuart is in production. Maybe he chose not to go flak half-track when he saw Captain tier. It's actually going to go Puma instead. Stuart is on its way. Puma on the field as well. Puma versus Stuart pretty much just depends on who has better support and positioning. If the Captain catches the Puma out of position and the Stuart gets shell-shocked, the Puma will go down. If the Puma can successfully kite the Stuart around, maybe get his Raketenwerfer or Panzerschreck shot off, and Puma can beat the Stuart. So it really just comes down to positioning. Micro. Stuart is going to start working on units here in the south.
Ambulance taking the field.
Forces a retreat down here. Currently, fuel control, it looks like it's pretty much in Classy David's favor. He's winning the engagement for the north, successfully pushing units away from the south. Puma is on its way to maybe try and get some shots off on that Stuart. I think unsupported, the Puma doesn't have a very realistic chance of killing it, but it can harass it and push it away. As long as it activates shell shock, which it does, there's the stun. Stuart should be able to get itself to safety while the Puma is, I think, stunned. It waited around for kind of a long time to get away. Now it might go down. It's trying to get away. Puma gets vision and snipes it at maximum range. Wow. Usually the Puma will at least miss a couple shots. Give the Stuart more time. Apparently not in this case. Stuart goes down like it's nothing. I completely wrong about how I thought that engagement was going to go. Thought that Stuart would at least be able to get away. So, my mistake. Apparently, Stuart goes down like it's nothing. Puma just cleaned it up so easy.
Contact! Small arms fire! Keep low! Keep low! Taking small arms fire! Ordnance field communication!
BARs thrown on these riflemen to go with the Captain. This looks like it might maybe be an armor company build. Kind of hard to call, or recon. Just standard US Corps, not reliant on paratroopers, for example, or LMGs. Doesn't even have infantry company in his loadout. So it does make his commander selection hard to read, and he hasn't picked one yet. 4 CPs in. These riflemen going down fast to Jaeger light infantry snipes. Infiltration grenades on these 2 squads get a little bit of damage, but the spread's not quite right. And those 2 squads will be forced to retreat. The Puma continues harassing various squads of infantry where it can. This particular squad going down quick. Anti-tank rifle grenade to prevent that Puma from hunting or killing anything anywhere. Unfortunately, the Captain is not currently available to engage against the Puma, but he does win an engagement in the south against some unsupported Volksgrenadiers, get the munitions down here under control. 1 fuel point currently in Classy David's control, 1 munitions point being traded north and south simultaneously. Something needs to move and push those Volksgrenadiers away. Despite the fact that Classy David has a very solid and capable infantry corps, 4 riflemen, 3 with BARs, plus his captain, plus both squads of rear echelon troops. He doesn't seem to be winning anywhere. Luvnest just forcing retreats, getting just enough harassment out of his Puma. It's got 5 kills, which is pretty significant against riflemen. And his Jaeger light infantry have been getting snipes, so that helps. And he's got a pretty healthy amount of territory, even with this Puma build. And of course, the fact that Classy David decided to go Stuart is a pretty significant setback for manpower and fuel. Stuart costs 200 something manpower, I think, 240. So that's a pretty big dent in Classy David's forces alone. If that manpower had been invested in just further infantry, for example, I think Luvnest actually would be struggling right now. Because the Puma, of course, doesn't perform that well against infantry. It can do mild harassment, but when all squads of riflemen are vetted and there's a captain out, every infantry squad on the field poses a potential threat. Look at this attempt at a snipe. It will spot the ambulance in the base. And there it goes. Misses the first shot, but doesn't matter. Finds an opening and picks it up. That's going to be even more manpower down the drain for Classy David right there. He didn't have anything available just to prevent that Puma from just peeking the base and picking up what it could find. So nice pickup by Luvnest.
Objective secured. Behind cover.
Combat unit ready.
Despite these losses, Classy David's map control is still pretty good. He has very good harassment potential with BAR riflemen, has no problem pushing away Volksgrenadiers set up in yellow cover. That's not a significant threat to him, even with lucky Panzerschreck snipes. Stern Pioneers just crossed red cover to get in range right here. They do look like they'll win the engagement though. BAR is falling too low, plus Jaeger light infantry on the flank right there. Classy David doesn't want to stick around. He will get out of there. Rear echelon troops move to harass the central VP. Puma's going to peek the base again. I don't think it's going to spot anything. He could probably use aimed shot to wipe like a one-man squad if he wanted to. But he's just going to continue poking. Minor harassment with the coaxial gun. Meanwhile, another squad of Jaeger light infantry is working on the south, so that's a 4 Volksgrenadier, 2 Jaeger Corps, plus Stern Pioneers. And from this point, it looks like Luvnest went tier 2 to maybe Jagdpanzer. Jagdpanzer plus Puma will give probably enough anti-tank to handle anything that Classy David might field, and he is going to start transitioning to tier 4 units. Got a Major out.
We lost an infantry unit. They got wiped out.
A full squad of rear echelon troops just got wiped somewhere. Not sure where. I guess the one that was harassing here in the middle went down, trying to get away from these Volksgrenadiers on the retreat. Was not successful. Meanwhile, BAR riflemen might pick up this squad, chasing it hard. I don't know if there's anything else anywhere that can finish it off. It looks like it's going to get away this time. Riflemen switch targets to engage against Volksgrenadiers in the middle, but decide not to charge against infantry set up already in green cover. Big Shrek snipe right there as well, lowering the effectiveness of this rifle squad. That probably will not be able to contend against this quantity of Volksgrenadiers. Getting whittled down here and there. It looks like model losses are currently in Luvnest's favor, despite being against BAR riflemen. Wow. Utilizing Jaeger light infantry to give him that extra edge that he needs. He does have 7 actually combat capable squads now up against Classy David's 4, maybe 5 if you count the captain. Rifleman there will be forced to retreat, and there's a fresh ambulance on the field for Captain or Classy David. Try and repair, reinforce.
We're losing a capture point. Reinforcements in.
Try and get his forces back up to full health. Try and find a way to break through Luvnest's now very aggressive containment. He's got a lot of squads moving up to position themselves in green cover to shut down whatever's coming next. The Puma moves to peek the base again. This time the ambulance is positioned slightly more safely. Puma picks up a couple snipes. 10 kills now. We'll be Vet 2 soon. Snipes the Major twice, in fact. He's going to be forced to retreat. Classy David still doesn't have the fuel for a Sherman, which might be the logical next step. It'll help him a lot against pretty much everything on the field, although the Puma will be, at Vet 2, a serious threat, even to a Sherman. And I think Luvnest, however, will be going Jagdpanzer soon. Once he does, even a Sherman probably won't be able to turn the game around significantly. Jagdpanzer in production, on its way.
Airdrop runs now available. Riflemen are now equipped with observation packages.
Looks like Captain David, or Classy David, has somewhat broken through.
Under attack.
Keep calling him Captain David, because that's who nominated him. Classy David has somewhat broken through, taking control of Luvnest's cutoff here. BAR riflemen move back into some green cover to try and clean up some of Luvnest's infantry on the flank, but it looks like they're losing the engagement. They do have double BARs, though, so maybe they're not, I don't know. They'd shoot that squad up pretty fast. This one moves into some green cover. At long range, they might have slightly better luck. These infantry move to support. This one set up in cover is dealing with infiltration grenades, successfully dodged. Looks like they should win the engagement against those folks. Wow! Wow, that bazooka snipe! Did you see that? A three-man squad just evaporated to a bazooka. Stolen bazooka. Oh, that's tragic. I can't even believe my eyes. I can't believe that just happened. Oh, no. Well, Luvnest deploys more Jaegers out of the building over here on this cutoff, getting control of this sector back. Riflemen taking control of this fuel look like they're getting boxed back into their base, and Luvnest is rapidly taking complete control of this game, and I think Classy David, okay, he has gone Sherman. I was about to say, I don't think he should get one. I think he should just make more infantry, because even though it doesn't look like he's having that much success with infantry, I think he's going to have even less success with a Sherman. There's now a Jagdpanzer and a vetted Puma on the field. Riflemen might get sniped in red cover. No, they do get away, barely. Here comes the Sherman. Ooh, those infantry are so clumped. They'll get away, though. Shoot just in time. Kind of asking to get nailed by a lucky Sherman around. Puma and Panzerschreck dealing heavy damage to that Sherman. And it has exploded already, yeah. Jagdpanzer nicely positioned, by the way. On the flank, Sherman wasn't expecting to take so much damage so quickly, and it dies almost the instant it hits the field. Puma looks like it might go down, though. Classy David finds an opportunity. He damages its engine. If his bazooka can just get one more. She's only got one bazooka, but if it connects, that's definitely a dead Puma. Emerges from the smoke. Can't get a line, though. Folks Grenadiers move to counter, and the captain goes down. He probably had to use attack ground through the smoke. He didn't want to risk his bazooka shot missing. But his captain is wiped, and it looks like these riflemen are not going to do a whole lot better. Jagdpanzer, I think, is looking for the ambulance here in the base. Because there's now not a single bazooka left in Captain David's, or Classy David's army, he's not in any serious danger at all. Unless an AT grenade destroys its engine or something. Which I guess could happen. The BAR rifleman that remains successfully pushed Luvnest back out of the US base. He's going to do some light harassment of the north. Most of Luvnest's infantry is making its way back onto the battlefield. Vetted Jaeger Lights plus Volksgrenadiers as a meat shield. will probably be sufficient to keep the clock ticking against Classy David, though, who has basically no armor reserves. He has picked Recon Company, but he will definitely not have the manpower float he needs to field the Paradrop Combat Group if he continues trying to engage with his BAR riflemen like this. Stern Pioneers, another huge snipe by anti-tank weaponry. Taking out 2 models right there.
Contact! Small arms fire!
And here comes an Ostwind. His gun control is so good, apparently. Luvnest having so much fuel this game that he's managed to go Puma, Jagdpanzer, Ostwind, which is a very full composition for Upper Commando West. Almost equivalent to getting out a King Tiger. Oh man, this Ostwind is just gonna annihilate everything. It's almost completely uncountered. The AT gun caught out of position right there, and there's nothing left on the battlefield that can do anything about this. More manpower bleed, making this Paradrop Combat Group even more of an impossibility, as these riflemen desperately try to reinforce in the base and find some way to recover control of this game, which at this point may be impossible.
Prepare for orders.
Command level capabilities ready for deployment. Enemy infantry!
Squad under fire!
Targets neutralized!
Fire!
Riflemen working on this defense up here because Luvnest denied this cover position. I think there is still a little bit left right there. Maybe could have tried to utilize that, but he wasn't going to win an engagement against this much infantry regardless. Rear echelon troops making an attempt at AT gun recovery in the road get wiped.
Infantry attacking in force! Field promotion!
Point secure. Maintains in position.
And there it is. Captain David cannot win this game. Or Classy David will surrender. Luvnest takes it with a 322 VP victory as Axis, though. To be fair, he got knocked down a little bit. So, should Classy David pull off a win as Oster, he might have, or as Axis, he might have a shot at faction selection theoretically. I guess we'll see what happens in game 2.